The wilderness can be tough. It challenges us, pushes us hard, and sometimes it takes what it wants. Today, we're going into the heart of that wilderness, to the tall peaks and dangerous slopes of some of the world's toughest mountains. These are stories of big dreams, of people wanting to conquer the impossible, but they are also stories of sadness, of the thin line between winning and losing in these dangerous places. In 1924, George Mallerie, a famous name when we talk about Mount Everest, went on a brave trip to climb the world's highest mountain. Mallerie was not just any climber, he was a man driven by an unyielding passion for adventure and discovery. His dream was to conquer the unconquerable, to stand where no human had stood before. He really wanted adventure and to put the British flag on the top, so Mallerie went into the unknown. The British Empire was eager to claim this monumental achievement, and Mallerie was their chosen hero. His journey was not just a personal quest, but a national mission, a symbol of British endurance and spirit. The world watched carefully as Mallerie and his climbing friend, Andrew Irvine, climbed higher and higher, disappearing into the clouds around Everest's top. The duo faced unimaginable challenges, from treacherous ice fields to the thin, oxygen-starved air. Each step was a battle against nature's fiercest elements. No one ever saw them alive again. Their disappearance was a tragic mystery that left the world in suspense. The mountain had claimed them, and with them, the answers to many questions. Mallerie's last known spot, high on the northeast ridge, became a big mystery. It was a place of both hope and despair, where dreams met their end. Climbers who followed in their footsteps could only speculate about what had happened. Did he reach the top, achieving his biggest dream, only to die on the way down? This question haunted the climbing community and historians alike. The possibility that Mallerie had stood on the summit even for a brief moment was tantalizing, or did the mountain get him before he could win? The harsh conditions of Everest are unforgiving, and many have perished in their quest to conquer it. Mallerie's fate was a stark reminder of the mountain's deadly allure. For 75 years, no one knew what happened to Mallerie. His story became a legend, a tale of bravery and mystery that captivated the world. The mountain held its secrets tightly, refusing to give up its ghosts. Then, in 1999, another climbing group found something scary: Mallerie's body, frozen on the slopes of Everest. The discovery was both shocking and poignant, bringing closure to a long-standing mystery. Yet it also opened new questions about his final moments. His body showed he had fallen to his death, but his camera, which might have shown if he reached the top, was gone. The missing camera was a crucial piece of the puzzle, and its absence left a void in the story. What had Mallerie seen in his final hours? Even now, we don't know the whole story of Mallerie. His life and death remain shrouded in mystery, a testament to the enigmatic nature of Everest. The mountain keeps its secrets well, and Mallerie's tale is one of its most enduring. He reminds us how appealing and dangerous the mountains are. The allure of the unknown, the call of the wild, and the promise of glory draw many to the peaks, but the risks are immense. He's a famous climber, a symbol of both human strength and the power of nature. Mallerie's legacy is a powerful reminder of the indomitable human spirit and the awe-inspiring yet perilous beauty of the world's highest peaks. The 1996 Mount Everest disaster is a sad reminder of how dangerous climbing tall mountains can be. It was a year that saw the highest peak in the world claim the lives of 8 climbers in a single tragic event. The mountain, often seen as a symbol of human ambition and perseverance, turned into a deadly trap. Among the climbers caught in the deadly storm was Rob Hall, a great guide known for his skill and toughness. Hall was a seasoned climber, having summited Everest several times before. His experience and leadership were well respected in the mountaineering community. Hall, leading a group of climbers, was stuck high on the South Col as the storm got worse. The South Col, a sharp-edged pass between Everest and Lhotse, is notorious for its harsh weather and thin air. As the storm intensified, the situation became increasingly dire. Things went bad fast, it was hard to see, and the cold wind froze the climbers. The blizzard's ferocity made it nearly impossible to move, and the temperatures plummeted to life-threatening lows. Visibility was reduced to almost nothing, and the climbers were disoriented and exhausted. Hall, a truly selfless leader, stayed with his clients, even though he might die too. He knew the risks, but chose to remain with those who depended on him. His decision to stay was a testament to his character and dedication to his team. He worked hard to guide them down, but the mountain was too strong that day. Despite his best efforts, the relentless storm and the unforgiving terrain made descent nearly impossible. The climbers were battling not just the elements but also their own physical and mental limits. Hall's last words, brave and sad, were heard on the radio by his pregnant wife back home. In his final moments, he managed to communicate with base camp, conveying his love and concern for his family. His voice, filled with both strength and sorrow, echoed through the static. "Sleep well, my sweetheart, please don't worry too much." These words, simple yet profound, captured the essence of a man facing the end with grace and courage. They were a poignant reminder of the human cost of high-altitude mountaineering. His voice, strong in a terrible situation, was gone forever. The silence that followed was a stark contrast to the chaos of the storm, marking the end of a brave life. The mountain, indifferent to human suffering, stood as a silent witness to the tragedy. Rob Hall's story shows the strong connection between climbers, the bravery of those who climb the highest peaks. It highlights the camaraderie and mutual support that are essential in such extreme environments. The bonds formed on the mountain are forged in the crucible of shared hardship. We remember him not just for his climbing but for his care for his team, a true example of human strength in the worst times. His legacy lives on in the stories of those who survived and in the hearts of climbers around the world. Rob Hall's courage and compassion continue to inspire, reminding us of the profound human spirit that endures even in the face of overwhelming odds. Frances Arsentiev, a strong climber who wanted to be the first American woman to climb Everest without extra oxygen, went on her last climb in 1998. She loved the mountains and wanted to conquer Everest with her husband Sergey. They reached the top, but their happiness didn't last long. Coming down, tired and confused, Frances and Sergey got separated. Frances, very tired and sick from the altitude, was found by another group, barely alive but unable to move. They tried to save her, but Frances got worse quickly. The climbers, low on oxygen themselves, had to make the hard choice to leave her, knowing they couldn't bring her down alive. Frances Arsentiev, called Sleeping Beauty because of how she looked, is a sad reminder of how dangerous Everest is. Her story is a mix of ambition, love, and the sad truth that even the strongest climbers can't always beat the mountain. Chapter 4. In 2006, David Sharp, a British climber trying to climb Everest alone, died in a way that made people argue about climbing rules. Sharp, climbing without a group, was found very weak high on the northeast ridge. He was too cold, frostbitten, and couldn't move. Even though he was in bad shape, over 40 climbers passed him that day. Some said nice things, others kept climbing to the top. What happened to Sharp and the choice of those who passed him made a lot of people angry. Was it okay to leave a dying man, even on Everest? Or did the dangers of climbing Everest mean those who saved themselves weren't wrong? David Sharp's death showed the tough choices climbers face. It made climbers think about the difference between ambition, kindness, and human limits against the power of nature. Chapter 5. Hannlore Schmatz, the woman who rests on Everest. Hannlore Schmatz, a German climber known for her strength and determination, became a part of Everest's history in a tragic and unforgettable way. Her story is one of both triumph and sorrow, a testament to the unpredictable nature of the world's highest peak. In 1979, Schmatz achieved her lifelong dream of climbing Everest, becoming the first woman from Germany and Austria to reach the summit. It was a moment of immense pride and accomplishment, a feat that few have managed to achieve, but her victory was short-lived. On the descent, the challenges of Everest proved to be overwhelming. Exhausted and caught in a sudden and severe storm, Schmatz and her Sherpa guide Sungdae struggled to make it back to their camp. The harsh conditions took a toll on their bodies and spirits. Tragically, Sungdae succumbed to the elements, leaving Schmatz alone and vulnerable. Despite her dire situation, she remained visible to other climbers, a haunting figure against the icy backdrop. Efforts were made to rescue her, but the relentless weather conditions made it impossible. The mountain's fury was too great, and the rescuers were forced to retreat. Schmatz ultimately perished alone on the mountain, her dream turned into a nightmare. Her body remained on Everest, a stark reminder of the mountain's unforgiving nature. For years, her frozen body served as a somber marker for climbers making their way up the mountain. It was a chilling sight, a symbol of the risks that come with the pursuit of such lofty goals. She became known as the German woman, a poignant symbol of the mountain's power and the human spirit's resilience. Her story is a powerful reminder of the thin line between success and tragedy on Everest. Hannlore Schmatz's story continues to resonate with climbers and adventurers around the world. It underscores the inherent dangers of high-altitude climbing and the ever-present possibility of disaster. We remember her not only for her bravery and determination but also as a stark reminder of the mountain's allure and the steep price they can exact. Her legacy endures, inspiring and cautioning those who dare to follow in her footsteps. Chapter 6. Sergey and Francis Arsentiev, a love story on Everest. Sergey and Francis Arsentiev, a couple who loved each other and climbing, went to Everest in 1998 for their last climb together. They wanted to stand together on the top, their love pushing them higher. It was a hard climb, the mountain testing them every day. But their love stayed strong. They reached the top, very happy. But their happiness didn't last. Coming down, lost and weak, Sergey and Francis got separated. Sergey, wanting to find his wife, went back up, his love for Francis pushing him, even though he was weak. He was never seen alive again. His body was found a year later, showing the power of love, even in a terrible tragedy. Their story is a sad reminder that mountains can be beautiful, but also cruel. Chapter 7. Ueli St. The Swiss machine stopped. Mountains test us, they push us to our limits. But for some, mountains are more than a test, they're a way of life. Ueli St. was one of those people. Called the Swiss machine for his speed and skill, Ueli loved the mountains. He was a master climber, doing things no one thought possible. But even the best climbers can be hurt in the mountains. In 2017, while getting ready to climb Everest without extra oxygen, something terrible happened. Ueli was climbing Nuptse, a huge peak near Everest, when he fell to his death. Climbers everywhere were shocked. Ueli St., a legend, was gone, taken by the mountains he loved. But his legacy, his love for adventure, his drive to push human limits will live on, inspiring future climbers. Mountains are powerful. They deserve respect. We've seen what happens when we don't respect them, the price of going into their world. But even with sadness, the human spirit, the drive to explore, stays strong. We climb, not because it's easy, but because it's hard. Because it tests us, it makes us face our fears to find our strength. Mountains can take, but they also give. They give us perspective, they remind us that we won't live forever, and that makes us appreciate life. So when you face a challenge, remember the mountains. Be prepared, be respectful, and never give up.